Now from Atlanta News First Plus, this is Sports Tonight.
Finally, welcome to Sports Tonight. It's been so long.
What is this? Finally, welcome.
I feel like I haven't done Sports Tonight in forever. I mean,
You didn't do it last week?
Didn't do it all last week, so yeah.
I didn't realize that. Finally, Scott's
it's
back.
all good. Finally.
Scott Pennyman, he doesn't even need an intro.
It's like The Rock, when he walks in. Finally, The Rock has come back, and then he announces wherever he's back to. I always thought that was pretty dope.
Guys, that actually describes you to a T. You're like The Rock.
He's way more animated than I am, Emily.
Oh, well, that is fact.
He's way
but
more
I think
animated.
your confidence levels are right about at the same.
I'm pretty confident, dude.
Yeah, on the same sphere.
Anyway, welcome to Sports Tonight here on this Tuesday. A whole lot to talk about. The sports world's been crazy the last couple of days, and if social media is any indication of some of these topics, these are going to be really popular. Emily, did you happen to catch any of the Iowa versus LSU game last night?
I happened to watch it all.
What were your thoughts on just kind of how things went?
My thoughts were, I wish that every game had that kind of atmosphere in like women's sports. I thought you could just tell people were watching, and I don't know how I could tell, but I just could tell that it wasn't your regular old game.
Wasn't just another game.
No, you could feel like the coaches, the players, just everything about it. And actually, it was the most viewed ever.
I knew it would be. Because their game last year was it got crazy amount of viewership and.
Hold on, let me give it to you.
Yeah.
12.3 million viewers on ESPN.
It was that many?
Iowa LSU, making it the most watched women's college basketball game ever.
That's more than what the championship game is going to get, probably.
Yeah.
Most likely, I think so.
I love that, though.
If they play South Carolina, it could be a little different. But I think with this matchup with LSU, there was obviously the history last year.
Yeah,
it was a rematch. And you have two of the more popular figures in women's, I'm not even going to say in women's college basketball, just in college basketball, period.
Right now.
Yeah, right now with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and everything that kind of witnessed that.
Not to mention a very popular head coach.
Very popular head coach.
Popular
Kim Mulkey.
LSU head coach.
Yeah, Kim Mulkey.
Brings her own little bit of spice to every game.
You like Kim Mulkey?
I like her outfits.
That's all you can say about Kim Mulkey?
I think she really has it going on. I think she's a controversial figure, but I like that she seems to be able to bring out the best in her players. At several programs. So
she's won 4 national championships?
As a coach, that I'm not sure of, but as a coach, that's how I'm coming up with this thought, is that I appreciate the fact that she seems to be able to lead young women on a court. Beyond that, I don't know, Scott.
She's like a new kind of, I remember growing up as a kid watching Pat Summitt at the University of Tennessee, and watching Pat Summitt there. She was always really fiery, but she seemed like when you watch Pat Summitt, she looked like she could lead anybody. It doesn't matter what gender you are or whatever. It just felt like she was just a great leader of people. And I think that when you look at Kim Mulkey, I think she's the same way. I think she's the perfect coach for that team. And even in defeat last night, she acknowledged the fact that Caitlin Clark was just out of this world. I mean, 41 points. Was it a 12 assists and 7 rebounds? I mean, that's just when you watch that game, and they call her the female Steph Curry when you think about Caitlin Clark, right? So, I mean, just in watching that game, that was one of the more entertaining games that I've ever watched from a basketball standpoint. And personally, I didn't care who won because I have an appreciation for both teams on both sides.
Yeah,
but
I didn't care either.
I think the biggest winner last night was women's basketball.
Yes.
Right? Because I think – and I don't know if they're going to be able to carry this to the WNBA, but this is what the WNBA needs, right? I mean, you have Angel Reese, who has all her social media followers, and she's extremely popular, very accomplished on the court, national champion, most outstanding player of the tournament last year, 2-time All-American.
And she's herself. And I think that's why people like her. Beyond just she's a baller on the court. She's
or don't like her.
Yeah, she's herself on the court.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that because so many of us, no matter where you are, whether you're in this newsroom or on a basketball court, you're trying to be somebody you're not, or you're not trying to show your true, emotions or whatever the case may be. And I appreciate the fact that she goes out there and she has this like swag that's only hers.
Yeah, I mean, it's just when you watch Reese play. I mean, when you watch her play, she, like you said, she has that attitude that you love and appreciate. And I think same thing for Caitlin Clark, right? I mean, you know, Caitlin is a very fiery person, a very fiery player, and I think you appreciate that and just her ability. I mean, they call her the female Steph Curry, right? I think that is such an accurate.
And what a compliment.
That's what she is. I mean, I think that's such a very accurate estimation of her abilities when you look at how she plays the game. And I think when you liken her to the female Steph Curry, it's not just because of how she can shoot the ball. I think it's right up and down the board because Steph Curry, for as great of a shooter as he is, I don't think he gets enough appreciation for just the overall player that he is. Not just as a shooter, but he makes his team better. He basically took Golden State and made them a juggernaut. He basically made them a dynasty. And I think he does that not just with his shooting ability, but his ability to be a leader of his team. And I think Caitlin Clark is the same way. When you look at Iowa before Caitlin Clark and now Iowa with Caitlin Clark, I mean,
Scott.
What's that?
El Mac, you want to come over here?
No,
we
see,
got a coworker who's pretending to be a baller over here.
That's what always happens. When it comes time to get on camera, they run.
Yeah, and show off his moves.
Come on down here, Elmac.
Yeah. We're talking about Caitlin Clark and Steph Curry.
I played ball with Elmac before.
You probably feel like you can compete against both of them. Here we go.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
I played some ball with Elmac before, though. He ain't lying. He got the shot.
The thing about Elmac is he thinks he's good at everything. He's like, I could be Tiger, I could be Steph, I could be...
I'm the bestest.
See?
The man feels he's the best. There's nothing wrong with that. Self-confidence, right?
Yeah, I've got two very confident men around me right now. I don't know what to do with myself, but keep on going. Thank you, Elmac, for that appearance. We certainly appreciate it.
No, but I think when you look at just the confidence of Caitlin Clark, too, and how she plays the game, she's a very confident person. And when you think about Iowa's team, they don't have a great team around her. They have a pretty good team, but pretty much everything, and we'll spill this talking more about Caitlin Clark, she accounted for 67 of their 94 points last night. She accounted for 71% of their offense. I mean, that's about as dominant of a performance as I've seen regardless of what the event was, who was
regardless
playing.
of sex, like...
What's that?
Like regardless of like male or female.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the most dominant basketball performances I've seen. And no matter who they switched on her, no matter what they tried to do, they could not slow her down. So it was just a great night. Just a great night. And the big winner last night wasn't just Iowa. The big winner was women's college basketball.
Yeah, I won't disagree. And hopefully this will bring... This is what you needed, right? Like just a little bit of like two teams, some spice to get the interest flowing, and you hope that it will continue on. Yeah, that's what I like to call it, spice. Like it you know, I don't know, excites you.
I got you.
Yeah.
I know what you meant.
Yes, I'm glad you did.
All right, so let's talk more about Caitlin, right? Because she deserves more. So when you think about Caitlin Clark's impact on college basketball, just on women's college basketball, and what she's done the last few years, I mean, I saw a lot of arguments about this back and forth. I even started a social media topic myself. When you think about what Caitlin Clark has meant, would you call her one of the, let's say, the most important figure for women's basketball in the last 40 years? Would you go that far?
I think I don't know. That's a hard question to answer because I think...
I know. That's why I came up with it.
I just think that where we are right now, I think the women's game period is blowing up. And is it because of her? I don't know. I think it's just because... I don't know if it's the exposure, like social media helping out.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? Like, I just think
sure.
that where we are right now, because you could have probably said the same about, I don't know,
Cheryl Miller back in the day, right? They said she was really good. I don't know. I didn't see her play.
I mean, it's one of those things that because of the time we're in right now.
Yeah.
And I also think that kudos to companies who are putting like sponsorships and money into the women's game.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because it also takes big companies to want to be able to partner with female athletes and women's sports to be able to elevate the game and elevate the platform. And I think a lot of companies right now are dumping money into women's sports, and rightfully so.
I think that's awesome, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to take a lot of people to continue this, right?
Yeah.
Ladies who can play basketball, go out there and keep playing and keep getting better. And that's what's going to elevate the game even more, is the fact that you can show in and night out, just like the men, right? And put on a show. Maybe that's where Caitlin Clark, her popularity comes from, is that she's just a baller, like what you just said.
Yeah.
So people want to watch her. People want to come out, want to watch, because let's be honest, as a sports fan, you want to be entertained. You want to see your team win. And she's been able to do that for Iowa, and she's not done yet, right? They just are in the Final Four now.
Yeah, she has an opportunity to win a championship, right? And I think that's just it. I think a championship will cement her legacy. I think she does need that, though, in order to be considered.
I don't think she needs that at all.
Well, I think she needs it from a standpoint if you're going to consider her
the best of all time?
Like the best of all time, right? I mean, there's no best of all time that never won a championship in anything, right? I mean, so I think she will need that, but look, from a popularity standpoint, she doesn't need it, right? I mean, you got Ice Cube in the Big Three offering her $5 million to play like 8 games, right? So I think even anyone associated with the business side of basketball realizes the gold mine they have with Caitlin Clark. So I don't think she needs a championship for that. I think what she needs a championship for is when you start comparing the best women's players to ever play, right? I mean, all those guys that, at least since I've been watching women's college basketball, like Sue Bird, Dinah Taurasi, Rebecca Lobo, Shamika Holdsclaw, who I think is kind of like the best I've ever seen. All those players won multiple championships, or they won championships, so that helps cement your legacy. I think if Caitlin Clark is going to be put in the same breath as a lot of those players, she's going to need to win at least one championship. And I think right now, no better opportunity than the present, because left in this tournament, you got UConn, who is always a juggernaut in women's basketball, and then she'll probably meet South Carolina in the championship game, most likely, which is a team that she helped beat last year in the Final Four. So, yeah, I think it's right there in front of her. You got 2 more wins you need to become a national champion and to put your name right up there with all those people who I just named as some of the greats to ever play. You combine that championship with what she's done statistically, then I think she'll have an argument to be the best women's player, let's say, in the last 30 or 40 years.
Yeah, and I do appreciate, her
Need
and
some water after that one.
And LSU's, not just, I feel like LSU's team as a whole. There's a few players on there, like Flau'jae.
Oh, yeah.
You got to mention. I just think that these ladies are just doing it. And they're, seriously, the women's game thanks you, because you're putting, something on the map that's been there forever, but you're elevating the interest. And
speaking of I didn't mean to interrupt your thought.
No, you're
I'm sorry,
good,
but speaking of Flau'jae, I don't know why she didn't get the defensive assignment on Caitlin Clark a little earlier in that game last night.
It is weird, right?
Right, because
the announcers were saying that throughout the game, why? What are we waiting on here? Because she's the one who seems to disrupt her the most.
Yeah, because I think from an athletic standpoint, I remember the Cavs playing the Warriors back in 2015 and 16, and that's what they did. I mean, eventually when they beat them in 2016, they showed Steph a lot of big bodies on the perimeter, even when they switched. I mean, he was always trying to shoot over taller, more athletic people, and that gave him some problems. I think the same strategy should have been employed with Caitlin Clark, because she has a lot of Steph Curry qualities. I feel like if you put longer, more athletic people in front of her, it would have made her life at least somewhat more difficult. But they switched to Flau'jae on her, who I think was LSU's best athlete, especially on the perimeter, way too late in the game. By the time she switched on, there was like 3 or 4 minutes left. They were way behind. They weren't going to come back in that game at that point.
Well, you know what? I'm sure they asked Mulkey that after the game. I mean, I'm sure there's an explanation for that. Also, Reese fouled out with, I don't know.
Yeah, it was just a few minutes left. It was pretty much over by the time she fouled out.
I mean, if you have your quote-unquote best player out of the game, I mean, you just don't know, right? And I know I think they mentioned, too, she was dealing with some kind of maybe an ankle injury.
Yeah, she rolled her ankle earlier in the game trying to block a shot from Caitlin Clark. But she still played really well, though. She had like 16, 17 points and 20 rebounds.
Your adrenaline is so high in games like that, and it's like...
Yeah, you don't feel it.
Yeah.
She felt it today, though, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, facts. Yeah. And, she probably was just trying to enjoy it because... Is it my last game?
For sure.
In college ball.
Yeah, that's probably what she thought.
Can we move on? Let me give it my all. So no, but awesome night for women's basketball for sure.
Absolutely. Braves hot start, right? They're 3-1, heading to play the White Sox a little bit later on here. I guess this is very early in the season, right? I mean, I don't even like analyzing baseball a lot early in the season, but I think when you look at the first few games, the Braves are looking like everything we thought they were, right?
The Braves look like the exact same team from last year, but with a bigger chip on their shoulder.
Good.
I mean, they look like offensively, they haven't missed a beat. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
They just jumped right in.
They had 20-something runs in their first 3 games. 24, 25, I'm not even sure.
That's pretty much the Braves. Yeah.
And then last night, or I should say yesterday, they beat the White Sox 9-0. So, yeah, I mean, so in their first 4 games, they've scored 30-plus runs. Like, it's wild.
But we know they can score, right? You know,
Yeah.
So I expect them to probably jump on the White Sox again
I still
tonight.
hope their pitching gets better, though.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but that's been their problem, and I still think that might be a minuscule problem.
Well, they have about 7 more games to figure that part out, right?
Yeah,
To get some
I
guys
mean,
back.
that's the one thing that I'm still like, ooh.
They could also be trades made too, right? I mean,
Yeah,
later
I
in the
mean,
season,
but
so.
like let's let everybody settle in a little bit and see
Right.
what happens. But like this team is not like the faces are familiar. There's only a few
Yes.
different guys, so we will figure out very soon though. Their home opener, you know, what's
That's always a big deal, right? They got the home opener coming up pretty soon.
yeah Friday against the
Friday.
Diamondbacks, which you know the Diamondbacks did very well last season.
They did,
so if
yeah.
they're anything like they were last year, it should be a competitive weekend.
For sure.
And the anniversary of Hank Aaron's whatever home run is coming up on Monday, I think.
Oh yeah. 7:55.
7, yeah. So I don't
7:55.
know how many years it's been.
That was 1974, if I'm not mistaken. The great Hank Aaron with the shot heard around the world at that time. Now, I'm not speaking from personal experience because I wasn't even born yet. But yeah, I mean, obviously Hank Aaron is what he is, especially to this area. So
It's his 40th anniversary.
it has to be more than 40. It's 40th. That's it.
I think 50th anniversary.
I'm thinking 50th. I think it has to be 50th. It was 1974, if I'm not mistaken.
50 years. Yep.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
715.
715.
50 years
Since he
since
got the
number
home run record.
715.
He went on to smash 755 for his
So
career.
we'll celebrate that this upcoming Monday from the ballpark. But
sure.
that will be cool too because Hank Aaron's a huge deal here and in baseball period, but especially in
Will you
Atlanta.
be there too, Emily?
I'll be there.
Well,
Facts.
that'd be pretty cool. Hey, so real quick here, Georgia State football getting underway with their spring coach once again. The team getting adjusted to new coach Dale McGee as he sort of kind of took over the job a little late in the game, right? I mean, probably didn't, as far as taking over a program. Just trying to get out ahead of things here, trying to build a culture. I don't know what it was, but when I was over at practice today, it just feels a little different, right? I mean, when you
It
have a
does.
different coach, it's a little different feel. It was way more people there. It seemed like it was more buzz in the stadium. So I'm kind of interested to see what Coach McGee does with that team this year. I think,
He's been waiting for this opportunity.
yeah,
He's been a head coach in high school, but not in college. He's been under some great coaches.
oh yeah,
Gus Malzahn over at Auburn. That's
Yeah.
his alma mater. Obviously Kirby for
Yeah.
several years.
and it's interesting you mentioned Kirby too because I felt like there was kind of a UGA feel, and kind of how they went about their business.
Well, he doesn't know
their-
anything else.
Right, their
He's been
pacing
with
of
them the last
practice.
8 years.
I mean, like when you watch a UGA practice, you've been there obviously way more times than I've been. I mean, those practices like crazy. They're insane. They're like frantic. At least the ones that I've seen there's a certain pace to it. And just watching practice today, it was that same kind of pace. It was the same kind of feel. They want to win in the trenches, kind of how like they did. Now, obviously, it's a different caliber of athlete at Georgia State than it is at UGA. So. After practice, I was able to talk to head coach Dale McGee and one of their offensive linemen to just kind of discuss the philosophy and the direction and just kind of how different things are under Coach McGee and sort of what he is looking to accomplish here in the spring before they head out for the summer and then come back for training camp a little later on in the summer. So here's Coach McGee and one of his players just kind of talking about how things are going so far in spring practices.
Kids are practicing the right way. They're kind of setting the example. The older guys are setting an example for the younger guys. I'm very excited of the leadership that our older guys are providing right now. Still got a lot of learning to do, especially situational football, the do's and don'ts, and just very enthused on completing day 10 and still got 4 more days to get some great work in and walkthroughs in between, and ready to get to that spring game on April 12th as well.
For sure. So Mason, as I was talking to Mason, he talked about how refreshing it is to have a coaching staff that really focuses in on offensive line and winning the battle in the trenches. Just kind of talk about the importance of that.
Yeah, I mean, to win football games, you got to be good on O-line and D-line, and you got to win the line of scrimmage. So that is an emphasis of our organization, and those players and those positions have taken heed to the coaching and the demand and the details that's required for those things to happen.
And how do you think it's coming along as far as those guys up front?
Oh, it's a work in progress. It's day by day. I can see them getting better, 1% each day, and that's the goal for spring. Is just don't make the same mistakes. Move on quickly, take coaching, be where your feet are, and those guys are doing that.
As far as the quarterback room, as far as what you've seen out of those guys, though, what kind of have you seen to be optimistic about?
Yeah, same thing. All of it's a work in progress, new verbiage, new language, new expectations. So I think all 3 quarterbacks are taking everything in the right way, making mistakes, learning from mistakes, but also moving on quickly from the mistakes they make.
And we think about this camp as a whole, like you said, you have a few days left. What are some of the things that you would like to accomplish after, as you walk away at the end of this camp?
Yeah, we just want to set the standard on how we're going to practice, and that way we can show our clips and our teaching and kind of get away from a lot of the Georgia clips that we've been using. But those Georgia clips have been great examples, and our kids are really taking those as learning tools, and it's showing up on the football field.
Yeah, well, I guess it's not a bad example to show, right?
Absolutely not.
You feeling more at ease now after you've been here for
No, still things going on every single day. So time is not enough time in the day to get everything done that I need to get done. But it is a work in progress. It is a lot slower than it was, so I can relax a little bit. Still got a lot of work to do for us getting ready for the spring game, getting the fans and our alumni, faculty, and the city of Atlanta to the game. So that's our kind of next step, and we're going to come out with something here soon to kind of promote that too.
I know it's just going on. Are there 2 or 3 things you'd like to see accomplished, done in the spring game?
Yeah, I just want to play clean, have 11 people on the field on both sides, make sure we're organized, just paying attention to all the little things, the details, and just having situational awareness, down and distance, how many timeouts we got left in 2-minute situations, get the ball back situations, what does that look like and what does it mean for the runner and the defense. So just defining all the scenarios that can come up in the game is our biggest goal, and teaching our guys how to practice, how to thud, how to tag off on the runner, and also how to finish on both sides of the ball.
Have there been any surprises out there, pleasant surprises you've seen?
I mean, the biggest surprise is just the team. They're willing, they're great listeners, they're trying to do everything we're asking them to do, which is a positive. So I really don't have any complaints, and I just like how we're progressing, and they're keeping the main thing, and that's win the day. And I'm just happy and thrilled for our program right now.
I was talking to Justin. Let me just ask you about him and what you've seen from him. And
Who's that?
Justin Abraham.
Oh, vocal leader. You can see his speed. You can see his experience. He's a confident young man. Just really glad that he's providing the leadership to our younger guys and the defense, and he's going to be counted on heavily this season.
There's a lot of different, honestly. The main thing obviously is coaching-wise. Trying to get better into the culture things. I feel like culture is definitely changing a little bit. I think guys are starting to buy into the process a little more, that we were differently with the last staff. Dale coming in here, Coach Dale, done a lot of really good things. Changing just everything from day one to the meal room to, just the basic stuff as us athletes need. And so I think everything's changing for the right direction. I think guys are starting to buy into it. So everything's going good for us.
So when you look at obviously one of the bases, Coach comes from a place where they won a lot of games like
Right.
scrimmage.
Right.
You're one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of talk about how much has it been stressed, the importance of winning the trenches.
Oh, man, it's every day. It's every day stress for us. Every day he comes talk to us, win the line of scrimmage. They'll come sit in our meeting room. Hey, guys, this is what we need to do today. It's push tempo. Let's push defense around. Let's win the line of scrimmage. You know, they say, oh, it always starts up front with us. Even in team meetings, they'll point it out. They'll put it up on the big screen. Hey, guys, this is what we need to do. We need to push tempo with these guys today. So they stress it every day. Every day, I'll be walking down the hallway, just coming through the office and, hey, go win the line of scrimmage tomorrow. So stuff like that, it's pretty important to everybody around here. So we enjoy it.
So it's got to be pretty dope to have a head coach that like prioritizes, like, you know, oftentimes offensive line.
Yeah.
Those guys kind of aren't in the, I guess, don't get the most attention.
Yeah.
So it's got to be kind of cool for a coach to come in and be like, look, we don't do anything just for you.
Yeah. It's a good feeling. It's got its ups and downs. Good comes with, you know, he looks out for us, he cares for us. Bad is he's on us every day. He's on us. If we don't do something right, he's gonna let us know. He's gonna call you out for it. Which, I mean, I'm not saying it's bad, but there's good with it. Sometimes it's just coach, no. But it's good though. Everything's good for us. All the criticism, we take coaching very well around here, especially our group. Especially me being one of the old heads, I feel like our guys are taking criticism very well. So yeah, it's just he cares about us. So.
Just talking about for you, just specifically, obviously making a position switch, right? And
Yep.
So far, I guess I'll ask, what's that been like?
Honestly, that really hasn't been different for me. I mean, of course, the main thing is just learn how to snap. But I mean, I feel like I've trained myself well enough with not only this staff, but the old staff. And you know, coming out of high school, I feel like I'm good enough to play all five. And that's just, it's not me being, you know, cocky or arrogant. It's just, you know, they train us to play all five. I can go from guard, I can go to center, I can go to tackle. Because I came in here as a guard, I moved to tackle, and now I'm at center. I mean, it's something that just comes with the, you know, college life. You just kind of got to adjust, kind of go with the flow. So I enjoy it.
Yeah. And how important is that? I mean, obviously, with the new coaching staff, I'm sure every player wants to be able to, you know,
Right.
because what you did with that previous coaching
Yeah.
staff might not work with the current coaching
Right.
staff. So how important is that to make yourself as versatile as possible to be able to, you know, kind of show these guys that
Right.
you do more?
It's very important. We have a motto: sweep the shed. You know, it's a everybody's got a clean slate. They tell us all the time, hey, go out there, sweep the shred. Every day is an interview. They said this whole spring process was an interview for everybody. So that's really the main thing about it, just kind of going out there doing your best, you know, whether you succeed or fail. It's a new offense, a new coaches, so obviously you're going to mess up something. So that's just our thing. Go sweep the shed, and if you mess up, go 100%. So that's how we look at it.
Now we'll lose that part, right? You mentioned clean slate.
Yep.
I guess that's a good thing if guys haven't, you know, maybe under the previous staff,
Right.
like they've gotten their due.
Right.
Now you have a new staff to be able to prove it to. So let's talk about how cool that must be.
It's I wouldn't say it's a blessing, but it's a blessing. A lot of guys, you know, as a team, a lot of guys maybe didn't play last year or maybe didn't get an opportunity they wanted to. Came in here, new coaches, clean slate. Yeah, every day's an interview. I've seen I saw guys that weren't even talked about playing last year that are you know, ones, twos, just getting a lot of reps. So it's not only for me, but it's good for everybody as a team. So that's the biggest thing. We're a team around here. It's not about me. It's about us. So it's a clean slate for everybody. So from what I see, it's a blessing.
Yeah. Here's my last question here.
He looks like a grown man.
Yeah, well, he said that he was one of the elder statesmen on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
He looks like he's.
that's part of the what I'm talking about when they're talking about winning the line of scrimmage and, you know, kind of bringing that mentality from UGA. That's what I'm talking about. He's got some grown men up front, you know. So, real quick before we get out of here, Emily, what's on your mind?
Well, we were just talking about how Tennessee was beat and didn't
Yeah.
move on in the NCAA tournament, and you
Yeah.
got Alabama playing. But then we brought up NC State, and I want NC State to do it to it. An 11 seed still standing, and they've won 9 in a row to get here.
It seems like this is
That's
UConn's
the
party.
last team I'd want to face. Oh, well, yeah, I
It
hear
seems
you
like
on
this
that.
is UConn's party and everybody else. I mean, they play such a great brand of basketball. Their execution is
But you don't even hear about anything about UConn until this time of the year.
right. I mean, well, that's
It's like hush-hush until now.
their money team. I mean, what Danny Hurley has built over there with UConn, they just look like a machine. I mean, just when you watch them, they have a couple guys who are seeing
NC
this.
State looks like a machine, too, though. That team,
Yeah, try guarding that big DJ Burns dude. I mean, I don't know. That's weight times mass times size. He's
he
gonna
should
move
be
you out of
playing
there.
football.
Exactly. Well, we're gonna get out of here. More sports tonight tomorrow. Thanks, Emily. It's always fun.
night.
Later. Good night.